Hello, everybody. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to wait a minute, see if more folks join us on this Thursday evening. Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Well, I think we will go ahead and get started. Let me share the presentation. Hi, everybody. Okay, let's go to share. Hi, guys. Nice to see some familiar faces. I'm really getting to know everyone through the screen here. You'll have to introduce yourselves if we ever meet in real life, or maybe some of us have met also as well. Okay. All right. Let me get my discussion up so I can see what you guys are saying. I see the discussion is active, which is already good. And we will go ahead and get started. All right, you guys, we are almost finished with our first free online masterclass. This is the second to last presentation. So this presentation is on the job search process, how to find the right jobs to apply to. So I hear a lot of you guys saying to me, listen, my resume is good. I've worked on my cover letter. I feel like I'm ready for the interview, but how do I even find the jobs to apply to? It seems like as soon as I start looking, or once I'm, really putting my time and energy towards searching, there are no jobs available. Where do I even start? And my friend just got a job and it wasn't even listed. And is that fair? And how do I do that? All right. So that is what we are talking about tonight. Who am I? I am Ariella. I'm the founder and CEO of the American Institute in Algiers. We are an English school and a cultural center that I opened in 2020. We are from Boston. I am from Boston. Let me quickly turn off my WhatsApp here so you don't hear that ping the whole class. I am from Boston and I moved here to Algeria in 2018, which means I have been here for 5 years already, which is crazy because I feel like I'm still just learning so much about Algeria and living here and running a business here. And closing WhatsApp on my computer seems to be taking a lot more time than I expected. Okay, beautiful. Let me get back to my presentation now, which I seem to have lost. You guys can still see? We've lost the thread this Thursday evening. Where did my presentation go? I found it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so this is me. I said hi again because at this point I'm seeing so many familiar faces. I feel like we're all friends. We meet here every Monday and Thursday. For those of you who are new, though, let's go over some rules and a little bit about the program. If I can get it to go to the next slide. Good. Oops. I think I'm having an internet issue. It's going very slowly. Uh-oh. Sorry, everyone, bear with me. Technical difficulties. Okay. Now we're reacting. Okay, good. So about this course, this is a free course. It's a free online masterclass. We have been meeting every Monday and Thursday night in February. And tonight is our 5th out of a total of 6 classes. So our last class will be next Monday. And all of these classes are recorded. So my technical difficulties and closing WhatsApp will be forever on YouTube. And this is the link if you want to see what they will look like on YouTube. You can find that at the link below, American Institute-DZ. The classes are open to everyone. Everyone can participate. We only have a few rules that we ask that you follow. I almost said next slide, please, thinking someone else is doing it, but it's just that my clicker is slow. So this is an overview of the course. If you weren't able to attend the previous sessions, we have one on resume. We had one on resume. We had one on cover letters. How to effectively network, mastering job interviews was a wonderful session this week. And then last and certainly not, or sorry, tonight, said last but not least, tonight we have navigating the job search process. The last one, which is also not the least one, is next week, which will be all about negotiating once you have been offered a job and how to make sure you get good conditions and a good salary. So that last one will be on the 19th. There are only a few rules to follow. We ask that you stay appropriate in the chat. And you'll notice I just said we. There are two screens here. It is myself and my associate who helps manage the chat. If we have sort of anyone spamming us or sending links, we will kindly escort you out. We ask that you stay on topic and that you actively participate. There are definitely, the course relies on your participation. This is not a lecture. I will be asking you questions. I'll be looking for your feedback, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about tonight's topic. So the program tonight is going to be about, let's just skip the program. The program tonight is going to be about job search strategies. I want to skip the program because it kind of gives away the answer to this question. So we skipped right through it because I want you to brainstorm before I give you some ideas. What are the most common job search strategies that you know of? You'll notice this is the first class that we're starting where we didn't start with a poll. Usually I ask you for your feedback, but this time, instead of a poll, I want to know, what are the most common ways that you know of, either through your own experience or just through, I don't know, your older brother, your cousin, your friend? What are the strategies that people use when they want to find work, when they want to find a job? All right, I'm looking in the chat. So send me your answers by typing, please. I'm looking in the chat and I see LinkedIn. Good. Aya is pointing out also the company's websites themselves. Exactly. Companies post jobs on their own websites. Okay, LinkedIn. Feriel agrees. Haifa is mentioning Indeed. Good. Indeed will come up later. Manel offers online through ads, through family members. Good. Anem agency. I didn't include that in the presentation, but we can definitely talk about this sort of governmental agencies that help you find work. Online research, social media. Nasser says, for me, it's looking on LinkedIn or Wedknis websites. You know, it's interesting. I actually just found out as I was finalizing this presentation that Wedknis is used for job searching in Algeria. I thought it was only for when you're looking to rent an apartment. Online, Indeed, LinkedIn, online, networking, good. LinkedIn Emploitique, very good. Social media, interesting. Fatima Zora, social media. I'm glad to see that come up. We will talk about this. Relatives, Emploitique. Headhunters, okay, interesting, Hajira. Headhunters, people who actually seek you out and say, hey, you're so amazing that I have come looking for you to offer you a job. That's almost, I don't even know if I would call it a common job search strategy because you can't really do anything about it. You're just sitting and waiting and you get surprised by someone who is headhunting you and they come to you with an offer. It's very flattering. Nobody has ever headhunted me, but I imagine if it were to happen, I would feel very flattered. Okay, word of mouth, marketing, HR, emails. Mohammed Ayman is pointing out that Google does offer job opportunities. I think what you mean is Google has a job board. They post job opportunities. Very good. Oh my gosh, you guys sent me so many answers. Thank you. I appreciate it. Amazing. So what I have done, and I hope I reflected almost everything that you put in the chat, what I have done is I have categorized the 4 main categories for finding jobs. The first is online job platforms. And what you will discover when you look at my categories is that they are not equal, okay? Online job platforms, if we were to rank it, should be, I would say, minimum 70%. of where your attention should be when you're looking for jobs. So truly, nowadays, when we're looking for jobs, we're talking about online searches. But nonetheless, there are these other categories that are distinct, and they can still be important, and they can still be how you get jobs. Referrals. So a referral means simply that someone recommends you, someone who knows you recommends you for the job. It can go in either direction. Either they contact the company and they say, hey, I know someone great, and they do the referral to the company. Or someone comes to you and says, I heard about an opening. I heard that they're looking for someone, and I recommend to the job searcher that they reach out directly to the company. But regardless of that, there's nothing happening online. There may not even be a job posted. These are the ones that can be frustrating because it can feel like there was a secret opportunity that was never available to someone who was outside of that referral network. The next is going to be networking events and opportunities. This refers directly back to our networking presentation from 2 sessions ago. And I don't want to spoil what I say in a second, but essentially the top line is networking can happen anywhere. Last, I have job fairs. I put job fairs in its own category because it's not networking. It's explicitly when you go to an event where companies are recruiting. They're actively looking for new candidates, for new hires, and the people who attend the job fairs are actively looking to join those companies. Okay, let's go through each one. So as I said, online job platforms, this is the big topic. This is the big way we have fully moved into the 21st century. We are on the internet. It does not mean, however, that we're only on classic websites, and we'll talk a little bit at the end about social media, but it does mean that the most common way that people are finding out about jobs is through search engines and searching through job platforms. So I didn't actually include Google in here. Google is not a job platform. It is a search engine, meaning you can use it to search for anything. However, as someone pointed out in the chat, Google has recently added a feature where it actually also functions as a job platform, meaning that if you search, let's say, engineering jobs in Qatar, it will list those jobs and the companies in a way that resembles very closely LinkedIn or Monster or Indeed, which are very common and popular job platforms. So Google should be added to this list. Okay. LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, Glassdoor, this other one, Well-Found for startups. What do these have in common? They are international job platforms. They are operated out of the US. I think most of them are, if not all of them. And so they are international in their scope, but you should pay attention to the fact that they may not be the best for the Algerian market. I actually see Youssef has the same point in mind as me, saying Employtique, Employ Partner. I actually have those mentioned later with Job Fair, but you make a very good point, which is that those are also online job platforms. So yes, add all of the local platforms. What you need to keep in mind is what type of job do I want? If I am looking for a job with an Algerian company, I need to be looking the places where Algerian companies post. Do they post on LinkedIn? Yes. Do they post on Indeed? Less. Monster, less. Glassdoor, less. Nonetheless, these are kind of the top line standard international job search platforms. But the advice I'm giving you about looking at, adapting your resume to the company you're applying to, adapting your cover letter, adapting your interview style, that also applies to your search. You need to adapt your search to the local context. If you go to France, you want to work in France, these are not necessarily the top websites in France. If you go to Qatar, if you go to Dubai, they will have their own preferred websites as well. So I'm giving you kind of the international standard. This is a place to start looking, to get interested, to get curious, but you may find, and you can call me up or you can come to the next class, you may find that this is not where you're going to find the jobs in your industry and in your local context. Okay. I wanted to say one more thing about these, and I'm not remembering. Yes, pricing. So Monster, of all of these, I believe has price limitations. The other ones are largely free. Well-Found, Indeed, LinkedIn, and Glassdoor are free. Glassdoor, you have to sign up, but it is still free. However, I would like to let you know that most job boards, even the ones that are not free, they will have a lot of free features. And nowadays there's a lot of ways that you can get around the paywall. Not necessarily, I'm not suggesting you hack a job website, but that if, for example, a job website is not free, they'll usually give you still the first paragraph of the job or the title of the position. And you can use Google and search the information you can find to get the listings. I personally have not seen benefit to paying to have access to a job platform. I'm ready to be wrong. It could just be that the industries that I work in, it's very rare that you find a job that's hidden on a paid website that you could not find another way, because employing agencies are eager to find the right candidate. So it's their job to come to you. So be careful if you look for a website that's asking for compensation, pay, or some kind of arrangement to have access to the listings, because the world is full of job opportunities if you can find the right places to look, and they're not usually behind a paywall. Okay. So let's see, social media. Let's talk about social media. I'm seeing everything going on in the chat here but can you really use TikTok, and why is TikTok mentioned? All right, well, let me give you my introductory speech about social media to begin with, which is that we are living through a revolution where social media is moving from a strictly personal space where I share photos of my dog and photos of my family, and I give updates about what I had for lunch, which, believe it or not, when Facebook first came out, and I was one of these early users at the tender age of 14, we were mostly giving status updates about what we ate for lunch and what time we woke up in the morning, and it's all very embarrassing to look back on. But nowadays, social media has a whole other side to it that's extremely professional. You will find that companies are operating their own social media accounts, and they are publishing job opportunities on their accounts. Is it easy to use social media to search for job postings? I don't think so, not yet. I would not be surprised, however, if these platforms, among others, start adding features, like adding something that can be tagged as a job posting, and then you have the ability to filter or to search by job posting. They haven't done that yet. So if you're telling me, Ariella, how do I search for a job on TikTok? I will say to you, I get it. You can't type in, research assistant job. But what you can do is start to follow the companies that you like and that you would like to work at. Because what I mean when I say that these platforms are being used for job searches is that companies are posting their job openings on social media. I know that we do this at American Institute. When we have a job opening, we post it on social media. Other companies, they're not exclusively using social media. So they'll post it on LinkedIn, they'll post it on Indeed, but they'll also use their audience. They're trying to find candidates. So if they have, let's say 200,000 followers, why would they not announce to them, hey guys, we need a new video editor. Hey, if you like the videos that you see, we're actually hiring. So yes, you have to be aware of the companies that you're interested in working for. You have to be following them. And there is an element of chance. You have to have seen the posting come through, because the searchability of social media for jobs is not quite there yet. Nonetheless, it is an extremely effective way for the companies to find candidates, because the ones who do see the stories are the ones that are following actively those companies, and they are the ones who know the product and perhaps know the brand best, because they're tracking, they're following, they've seen the different iterations, they're aware of the launch of new products. So in fact, social media from the perspective of a hiring agency is a very powerful way to reach the right candidates. So if you know that you want to work at a company, follow them, and follow them on every platform. Even if they don't use social media to post job listings, you can still use what you know about the company from following them on social media. When you get the interview, you'll be completely up to date. Well, I remember 6 months ago when you started doing these very interesting and clever videos, and I wondered why you haven't brought them back yet. And here's my suggestion, X, Y, and Z. It's a way to stay passively interested and almost passively like researching these companies, and it will be useful to you if you ever do end up getting an interview. I think that covers everything for Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Oh, yes. There's something else I wanted to mention, which is that more and more influencers are starting to post about job opportunities. There are influencers in every major city who like to regularly post about jobs. So they will say, all right, guys, every Sunday, I post all the job opportunities that I've seen in my network. And what do they mean by their network? Largely the companies they follow on social media. So they will repost every Sunday, I found these 10 jobs. I know that in Algeria, I've already found a few of these people who I think they end up doing it spontaneously, then they get a good response and they realize the need in the community, how hard it is to find out about jobs. And the need is on both sides, right? Because getting a candidate for a job is hard for everyone. The hiring manager has a really hard time finding the right candidates. They don't want to have to go through 200 resumes. They want to go through 10 really well targeted resumes that match the job. So they have to get the listing in front of the right people. So everyone, it's not just the candidate who's struggling to find the right job, it's also the hiring manager. So these influencers have found themselves in a position that is in demand. Someone who shares opportunities. So that is another way that I am seeing online job searching moving into social media. I see the chat just lighting up. So let me see what you guys are asking me, and I'll have to hear if you're convinced, if you're going to tell me like, no, TikTok is something crazy and absolutely doesn't have any place in job searching. I just see my assistant Kenza came on and said, hi. Hi, Kenza. All right, you guys. Yes, so Sarah, tell me if I answered how TikTok could help you in job searching. Let's see. Let's see. So Fariel says TikTok's used for marketing, not for job research. Okay, did I convince you? Do you think it's possible that you might find videos advertising jobs? Okay, yes, Haifa looking for the link to the videos. It is going to be in the previous slide. I can go back to that shortly. Hisham says, in Algeria, we say, I know someone who knows someone who knows someone. Actually, Hisham, we say that in every context, every city, every country, you have referrals. Okay, awesome. Very good. I see you guys asking really good questions and I want to get to them, but remember the questions so that if we don't get to them, we can do it in the Q&A at the end. So I'm going to say them out loud so you guys can help remind each other. Huda's saying, what about online jobs? How do we look for an online job as an English teacher? Great question. I don't specifically touch on English teaching. Remind me at the end. I have a lot to share on this. Mohammed is saying, what about advertisements on Facebook? I'm not sure what you mean by advertisements. I suppose maybe you're suggesting that companies are advertising jobs on Facebook. So that could be another reason why social media platforms are better. I have not personally seen people, companies pay to put job advertisements, but maybe that's because I'm not their target audience. So the algorithm isn't feeding this to me. It's very possible they're doing that. And Hajira is asking how to find a job abroad, like the UN. Well, honestly, all these platforms, the reason I decided to give you kind of the most standardized platforms that I could think of is because if you're looking for a job abroad, like for the UN, these are great platforms to look at. All right, thank you, everyone. What are some good strategies to search online? I feel like I ruined my own question. I answered a lot of this, some good strategies to search online. Can you add to this? So let's say you're going into LinkedIn. What would you do to find a good job on LinkedIn? You know, I don't just want you to walk away from this and say, oh, okay, these are good websites. Then you go to the websites and you can feel completely overwhelmed. What are some strategies when you are doing online job searching? Okay, Yasmin says hashtags. Awesome. Give me some more, you guys. We have hashtags and what else? All right, cool. I got the spelling of hashtags and the symbol of hashtags. So you search by hashtags. Yusuf is sending me a list. Multinationals have recruitment platforms. So I recommend start by looking for a multinational company, search for a profile, contact HR. Okay, you're giving us like a whole 1, 2, 3 strategy. It's beautiful. I think I would say multinationals and even very large national companies, they tend to have internal recruitment, meaning that they might not post on LinkedIn, they might not use external websites. It's almost like an ego thing. They're like, we're so big, so many people want to work here. We don't have time to post on external platforms. We will manage our own platform on our own website. And if other websites want to sort of link to these, that's fine, but we're not going to go to the trouble of posting them. And that's definitely true. So thank you for that, Yusuf. But when we are searching on those websites, when we are searching on a job platform, a generalized job platform, what should we do? Mufida and Reem both say keywords. Beautiful. Sama says search by category. Very good. Search by category. Yasmin says that purple thing showing they're hiring. Yeah, so LinkedIn now has the option for certain profile pictures. They kind of have a banner right over their head when they are hiring. So you can, I'm not sure if you can search by that. Possibly the companies, you can search who's actually hiring right now. But honestly, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can search by that. But when you see it, that's a very good indicator that there is a job there. Dunya, you're one step ahead of me. Post your accomplishments, your certificates, your internships. Good. We're definitely going to talk about how you can manage your own online profile to get better responses. Hussein, the word I'm looking for, you used it. Filters, 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 filters. Filter the job postings. So you're only looking at ones that are relevant to you. Fariel says, identify the society. I think you mean company. This is a little bit of a false friend with French. So I'm assuming you mean identify the company. Looking for workshops, for internships. Kahina, turn on notifications. I forgot to write that. That's a really good one. Turn on notifications. Great. This is what I wrote. So use keyword searching. Keyword searching. This is when you're in your search bar and you type, let's say we're looking for a job as a dental assistant. So I only want to look for jobs in dentistry. That's the only field. If I look at all the jobs everywhere, I'm going to be struggling to find the jobs that are relevant to me. So the first thing you need to say is dentistry, dental assistant, anything that's going to limit immediately your search. The next thing when you're looking at how to make your search, I would say this isn't just a way to find the right job. This is also a way to save a lot of time. You're not forced to weed through a ton of listings that have nothing to do with you. So you search by keywords and you also can start filtering. So we filter by location. I don't need to see jobs that are available in Dublin because I don't live in Dublin and it's a waste of my time. And maybe it just makes me feel sad because it's my dream job and I don't live there, right? So for the emotional reasons and the practical reasons, we only look for jobs in the market where we actually can work. What I recommend that you do, my suggested strategy, is that you start with really strict filters. So only dentistry jobs in Wargla, and you can say something like full-time, part-time. Maybe I can only do it part-time. There's even more filters. I'm trying to think of another example of filters. There's a filter on LinkedIn that talks about hybrid or remote work. I don't think that really applies to my dentist example. Yeah, Yusuf is on the same wavelength as me, but that is always another filter. Good. So anyways, let's imagine I'm in Wargla, where I will be going on Thursday next week. So let's say I'm in Wargla and I want to work at a dentistry clinic and I only want part-time work. So I put those 3 filters on. I'm only really getting 25, 30 jobs, or I don't know, let's imagine I'm only getting 2 or 0. Then you start to broaden and you go, okay, maybe I need to pick something to broaden just to see what opportunities there are. So I'll say, okay, let's not do Wargla. Let's do Wargla and, Gardaya and Al Uwaid. Okay, we broaden to an area that I feel like maybe I could move or work in these other cities. And then instead of just dentistry assistant, maybe I can type medical assistant, something broader, something bigger that I feel like my qualifications could still possibly make me a suitable candidate for. So that's an example to show you how you can start to use filters, where go to the strictest possible filter to get the lowest number of options and then broaden slightly. Because if you start with the really big broad one, let's just say Wargla, all the jobs in Wargla, even though you feel like you filtered because there's no jobs in Dublin, it's just not realistic that you can sit through and accurately analyze and take into consideration 12 pages of job listings. So job searching is an exercise in efficiency. How can I use my time and my energy efficiently? So if you are looking at your filters and you've got over 2 pages of listings, try to drop them down some more, just to save yourself all that time and energy for what really matters. Once you've found the job, you still have to write the resume, the cover letter, reach out to someone on LinkedIn, right? So let's try to make the job search part as efficient as possible. All right, so we did keywords, we did filters. On LinkedIn, you can't effectively do this on every platform, but where you can do it, there may be a few others that let you do this, but you can definitely do it on LinkedIn. Follow people in similar fields. And once you start doing this, so you start following them, you can try to connect with them. If they accept, great. If they don't, fine, you're still following them. You will start to get suggestions from the LinkedIn algorithm that will say, I notice you're following, well, I won't say this to you, but the logic of the algorithm is they'll notice that you're following a lot of different dentistry clinics, and you're following dentists. So it will start to suggest people based on your network, who you can start to follow. It will open your eyes to other professionals in the field, which is always a good thing to be connected. It will also show you companies. So if you're telling me, Ariella, it's great to follow companies on TikTok that I want to work at, but I don't even know the possibilities. I just graduated school. I don't have any friends or family in this industry. When I type in dentistry clinic, there's 500 coming up. Okay, so start slow, follow a few, let the algorithm suggest to you other ones, and you'll start to learn more. I think I say this in every single class, but essentially searching and applying for jobs is basically a research role. You are a researcher, you are an investigator into the industry that you want to work for. Okay. And the last, which is kind of what I was just saying, which is to follow companies you're interested in. And that goes back to what I was saying about social media. It also goes to LinkedIn, which is if you are following them, you will see if they do a job announcement, because the algorithm will prioritize those announcements that they're at the top of your feed, so that you do not have to manually do a new search every day, knowing that just by scrolling through your feed, all the companies you follow, you'll see any announcements. You won't miss them. And someone else, I think, put in the chat that you can get, I don't want to say newsletter, notifications. Thank you, Kahina, notifications. That is great. That should be on my list mentally, or if you're taking notes physically, add this to the list. You can set up notifications. So once you do a filter and you like it, so you've done your dentistry clinics, maybe it's within 10 miles of this address in Wargla, notify me anytime there's a new job posted. You can get an email, and you can also get an alert on your phone through the app. So this is a great way to just save time. You know that you don't have to scroll because you have your notification, you have your alert programmed and set. Awesome. Shukri, yes, I am speaking quickly. I usually tell folks at the beginning that, well, often I'll tell you guys how impressed I am that you're following along, job searching in English. And I usually do give a little notice about the English level, but I did not this time. I try to talk at an upper intermediate level, but I think you're right. I'm going really fast. So I'll try to slow down, hopefully not too slow that you're super bored. And we can all learn together, because you don't often need to be a fluent English speaker to work in English or to work in an English speaking company. Mastery, complete mastery of the language is not a prerequisite. So let me bring this presentation down a little bit and we can keep going. All right. So, do you remember this list? Let's go back to remind ourselves of the 4 categories I identified for you guys. 4 categories. The most common ways to find jobs, online job platforms. We talked about online job platforms, but we can come back to this at the end. We will come back to this at the end. The next is referrals. So that's where we're going next, friends and family. And then after that, we're going to go to networking events and job fairs. All right. Yeah, Hisham, I am tired today. I saw you posted it, and then I don't know if you deleted it, but thank you for noticing. It's the end of the week, a little bit tired, but we're going to share some great job strategies despite this. I don't know if you guys are tired on the other end as well and ready to go into a weekend of relaxation, but I hope that these strategies help you stay motivated as you search for jobs on your Friday and Saturday. So referrals are when friends or family recommend us for jobs. I'll remind back to what I said before, which is that a referral can happen in 2 directions. Either a friend or a family member tells you about an opening. Maybe it's not even someone that they have a big connection with. They can just say, be in a coffee shop and they're paying for their coffee and just making casual conversation with the person behind the counter. And the person says, actually, I'm leaving this job soon. They're going to be hiring a new person. That's some advanced information. You just learned that because you happen to have a contact with someone, or not a contact, you had contact, you were speaking, you learn about a job. It does not mean that you are on the inside or that you have secret knowledge. It just means like by luck or by design, you know about a job opening. Then you can say to your friend, hey, actually, this coffee shop told me they're hiring soon. Maybe you can check them out. That's a referral. That is telling someone that they should bring their resume or inquire and maybe be the first one. It's always good to be the first one showing up ready to work. The referral in the other direction is if you are recommending a company, someone who's working at a company, to talk to your friend or your family member. So you'll say, maybe it's a company you work at and you know that they're looking to hire someone, you know that they need maybe a new intern or an entry-level person, and they're just looking for someone who's eager to learn, who's responsible, who's reliable. And you say, actually, I think I know someone who would be really good for this role. And you recommend to the company someone. It doesn't matter who makes the outreach. You could still have your friend or your family member send the resume. But the point is that in this scenario, the referrer has sort of greased the wheels. They've prepared the company to hear from you. So I wanted to say something quickly before we go into this referral space, that I know there's a lot of emotions about referrals because it can feel like there's a sense of unfairness, that if someone's mother or father is a CEO of a firm, that their children happen to get referrals and they get placements in that company. And I'm pretty sure that happens in every country and in every cultural context. And the bottom line of what I'm going to say is that's not fair. And it does happen. It does happen. People hire their children, they hire their friends, they hire their family. Searching for jobs is not neutral. It's not a space where fairness is supreme, which is sad. I would love for us to feel that the best candidates get the best jobs, but that's not the world that we're living in. And I would encourage you, rather than sitting and thinking about all these people that have it easier, that don't have to do job searching online because they just have a job handed to them, rather than sitting in the frustration of this, to think about how you can get referrals in your own life. This is very similar to the networking lesson that I gave, okay, where it is about cultivating relationships to help you get jobs, realizing that everybody knows someone. And everyone can be a referral, right? It can be someone at the coffee shop. It can be someone who works in a grocery store, whose customer always comes, runs a business, or he works at the little Hanut down the street. It doesn't need to be a big person in a big position to know about a job, to inform you about a job, to recommend you as someone who just always shops in my store and it's really nice. So referrals are just about relationships, and anybody can exploit them. And I mean exploit them in the technical way. So I don't mean exploit as in take advantage of. I mean exploit as in make use of, make useful. So this is my question for you. Before I tell you my ideas, I want to know, how do you think you can let people in your network know that you're looking for a job? That is usually the most uncomfortable step for folks. How do you let them know you want their referral? What do you say? What do you do? I see Yusuf saying that some companies give a bonus if you recommend someone. They do. Yeah. So actually people are incentivized to refer their friends, their family, their community. Yes. Fatima Zora says, basically, I will talk about it. Yeah. Short and sweet. How do I let people know? I tell them. Good. Yusuf says you put it in your profile. That's right. So in LinkedIn, we talked about the little banner where it says hiring, I believe in purple. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that when you're looking for a job, it's green. And so you can put in your profile, I'm looking for a job. So all of your virtual connections, maybe people you haven't even met, but are part of your LinkedIn community, can send you jobs or can post your profile with a company that they know is hiring. Awesome. Iman agrees with Fatima Zora, basically just tell them. Sama says you can also show them your CV. Oh, and I see that is agreed with Iman. Yes, Amin, very good. Fariel, the question is here on the screen. Excuse me. How do you let people know you're looking for a job? And by people, we're sitting here talking about referrals. So how do you let your friends and your family know that you're looking for a job? All right. Open to work. Thank you, Kahina. That is what it is called on LinkedIn. You mentioned that you are open to work. All right. Very cool. So this is what I put here, you guys. Excuse me 1 second. I have a puppy noise situation. Give me 10 seconds. Hi, everyone. I'm back. I don't know if any of you have puppies, but they don't like to be quiet. Okay. Oh, Yasamine remembers her name. Moose is our friend. All right, let's see. Where were we? We talked about open to work on your profile. Good. Yes, putting a post. I was really happy someone would write that. So Muhammad Amin says, I share a post on LinkedIn. So more than just saying you're open to work. Oh, I already gave you guys my answers by accident. Let me go back. So we're still looking at the question. How do you let people know you're looking for a job? So more than just saying you're open to work, something that's very valuable is actually writing a post. It's detailed. You actually share with them. You can start the post, Dear LinkedIn community, I'm looking for work in this field or this field. These are the skills I bring. I'm really interested in any opportunity you can send my way. Thank you in advance. The advantage of this, number one, you personalize it. You bring your personality into the post. If you have any special circumstance, you explain it. But the biggest advantage is that that is a post that can be forwarded. So if someone knows about a job or a company with an open job, they can forward that post directly to the company, and it serves as a little introduction of who you are to the company. So I really like this when you start looking for work. All right. Hanan is saying referral is the same as a reference. Yeah, I think they're very similar. So a referral is someone who tells you that you should connect with someone. It's not as powerful as a reference because a reference is usually like a written letter or an email saying this person is great and I stand behind them 100%. And I validate that they will do great work. It's more formalized. A referral is simply telling someone, you should go talk to this person. You should go look into this company. It's like passing a message along within your network. Okay, I'm about to go to the next slide, but I have to read what Mufida said, which is that you should start a conversation about how desperate you are looking for a job and then just throw a joke. Oh, or maybe just throw a joke about it indirectly. I mean, sometimes it's awkward to share with friends and family that we're looking for work, 100%. Here's what I put. So tell them what jobs you're looking for, be specific, rather than saying, hey, I need work, I'll do anything. Give them ideas, and it's not to limit yourself, it's to inspire them. Being asked for help with no specifics, it's hard. You think, okay, every company, every person, every network, come to them and say, hey, I'm a really organized person, I'm very detail oriented, I'm just looking for office experience, kind of a 9-to-5 type job. It can be in any industry, but I want something where I'll get training, I'll get good attention, I can do people skills, maybe like someone who works at a front desk, maybe someone who is the assistant to a director, CEO, like just put some keywords in their head so they know at least where they can get started, inspire them. And then explain your experience or any other requirements that you have. If you are looking for people to refer you, they need to have a little bit of information about what your candidacy is so that they are not referring you to a company. You show up, the company was told that you have, a UX design experience, you don't have it. So there is sort of not a possibility of things going wrong, but just that it would be a real bummer if a lack of knowledge related or resulted in either a waste of time or a loss of opportunity. So just give them background knowledge. Don't inundate them. They are not going to memorize your profile, but give them a few keywords, and you can share your resume with them if they agree to it. So especially, I think, an older generation, they're not very interested in receiving a piece of paper. So don't just show up with a resume in hand. Ask, would it be helpful if I sent this to you? And if they want it, when they're ready for it, maybe when they're making a referral, that's going to be the moment that they say, yes, please send me a resume. And yes, to Fatima Zora, resume is the same as a CV. And then follow up with them. So follow up in a week, in a few weeks. Hey, have you heard about anything? Follow up once. Not everyone's going to be a good referral. If they haven't heard of anything after a few weeks, we leave it be. Maybe they'll come to us in a few months, but there's only so much we can do, right? We let people know we're looking. If they have something, if they're good friends, or if they're really looking out for us, they'll reach out, and that's the most you can do. All right. I see in the chat, well, I have a question for you, but I think there's something funny in the chat, because my question is, would you feel comfortable doing this? Like, would you feel comfortable using your friends and family for referrals for jobs, or would you feel comfortable explaining what you're looking for? And again, in the last slide, I was really focused on that kind of interpersonal element. But of course, LinkedIn is that much bigger kind of virtual community that you can also get referrals from. But what's funny is my next question is, would you feel comfortable doing this? Why or why not? Meanwhile, in the chat, Hamza is saying, I need to be a lawyer in the US. And Iman recognized, I think before even I recognized, that Hamza's applying my advice. He's letting me know, hey, Ariella, you're in a room with me right now. I need to be a lawyer. Yeah. Have you heard of any law jobs, any legal jobs? I mean, it's kind of a joke because we don't know each other. I don't see you guys. I don't know the scenario, but it's very funny. All right. So guys, would you feel comfortable doing this? Would you feel comfortable doing this? Someone says yes. Someone says it would be really embarrassing. Okay, Fariel says, I think so. Yes, yes. Not really. Yeah, Ronak is like, no, I wouldn't know how to do this. Manel, I'm not that comfortable. Okay, Reem says yes and no. So depending on the person, I think that's true for all of us. There's like the best friend in the whole world, or the aunt that is practically raised you, it's easy to say like, hey, I need some help. People you don't know so well, you might not be comfortable. Asma says it would be a little bit embarrassing. I want to be autonomous. Awesome. All right, you guys. That is, I think, the end of referrals. Thank you so much. We're going to move on here to networking events. In the chat, hit me up. What is a networking event? What are some examples? When I say you can get a job at a networking event, what events am I talking about? While I wait for these answers to come in, I have to just read some of the last two. Kahina says, yes, I'd speak for hours about my quest for my dream job. So some of us have no problem talking to people who could help refer us. And Furiel mentions you can always ask. I think that's the best way to put this. You can always ask. If it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't need to be a big deal. It doesn't need to be a big ask. You can always ask. Okay. Networking events, Yusuf says Emploitique Connect, Safex, okay. I don't see a lot coming in, you guys, so I think it's a good thing I asked this question. Let me show you what I mean when I say networking event. So professional events from companies in your industry. A lot of big companies will hold events. Maybe they have an annual event. Maybe they have conferences a few times a year. By following them on LinkedIn, by signing up for their mailing list on their website, you will be aware of what events are existing and if they're open to the public. So in-house, what we would call kind of internal events run by specific companies. Good. Then we have industry-wide events. So someone said Safex, that's what this one is about. These are events that are usually organized by an event company, meaning their whole job is to put on an event for a specific industry. They'll have like the pharmaceutical event. They'll have the event all about, I think I saw one recently that was all about like air conditioners or something like this, like the air conditioner event. There have to have been maybe a little bit more than just air conditioners, but maybe not. And the advantage of these industry-wide events is they do get specific enough that you really will be meeting people from specifically the one industry or one of the few industries you're excited about working in. The last one I added is about these networking events that we don't always realize can turn into networking events. So that's just a regular event. So an art gallery opening, nothing to do with your professional life, assuming that you're not like an artist looking to get representation. So in that case, that would be very explicitly professional. But for the rest of us, we're not going for professional networking. We're going to see art. But lo and behold, you go and you're having your little treat and you have your juice and you're looking at the art and you start talking to someone and oh, guess what? They're in this field or their husband is in this field or their daughter works in this field and it's really related to what you want to do. And before you know it, you are getting involved in a networking opportunity. That's the same idea with a poetry reading. I tried to think of regular events. I didn't quite come up with some normal ones. I think art gallery is a normal one. Poetry reading, I've seen less of in Algiers, but also I'm not a poet, so maybe these are still happening. And then I wrote, anything can be a networking opportunity because that is the bottom line of what I'm saying, that a networking event can happen anywhere. And so we need to be prepared. I won't redo my networking session, but you can go back and watch it. We need to be prepared to present ourselves professionally and present our professional goals when we are out and meeting folks in public. Okay, awesome. I also see Esma mentioning national and international seminars for academic work. Yes, in fact, universities have quite a lot of events. These are mostly going to be networking for academics, but they're big, amazing opportunities for that. Great. All right, we're moving into our last one here, which is about job fairs. So I remember when someone was mentioning Emploitique and Emploi Partner. I always say emploi partenaire. I don't know why, but I verified it's emploi and then the English word partner and more. And by this, I'm talking about local HR agencies. Local meaning Algerian, so national rather, not local, national Algerian job search agencies where their entire job is to help companies post job listings and help applicants get those jobs. They tend to make their money off of both. So they'll charge the companies to post the listing And then maybe they'll charge you for help reviewing your resume or getting a top tier service. But they are fundamentally, they exist in the world of job searching. So when you are looking for a job, they are eager for your attention, for your participation. They want you to see their listings. And one of the ways that they do that is they host regular job fairs. I believe Emploitique hosts a job fair maybe 3 times a year. And what they do is they contact companies in the region. So if they're hosting the fair in Waharan, they'll contact companies in the West. They'll tell them, please come and operate a stand. A stand or a booth where you have your own little area in a big conference center and meet people who want to work for you. So you can meet new graduates, you can meet people trying to change careers, and they promise to bring a big crowd of people who are looking for jobs. So they get all the companies in the place, and then they reach out to students, to young professionals. They buy advertisements on LinkedIn. This is where I have seen advertisements. They send a lot of email campaigns. They launch essentially a very big event. And their entire goal is to get one big room, maybe for 2 days, maybe for 4 days, filled with job seekers. Ideally, like yourselves, this is a very ideal situation where you are the target. Everyone at this event is looking to hire. So it's a really great experience for a couple of reasons. One is it's an opportunity to find out about job listings, but more than that, you get to find out about companies. So you can just go and it's like LinkedIn, but in real life. You don't get to filter, but you do get the company list ahead of time. You can research them ahead of time, and you get to talk to people who work there. So you get a real sense for the vibe of a company. You can even cross-reference like, hey, I see that this is the job listing. I wasn't sure what this meant, or would my candidacy make me a candidate, or would I pass the requirement? This is the word I'm looking for, requirement, according to what I have in my CV, according to my academic career. I did an LMD, I didn't do traditional, etc. So you get FaceTime with companies before you submit your application. As we talked about, as we've been talking about with resumes and cover letters, you don't always hear back from companies. You don't get feedback from them. So you send a resume, you send a cover letter, and then it's silent. But at a job fair, you actually have a human in front of you before you even have an interview. All right, so here's my question. How do you make sure a job fair is productive for you? Basically, how do you make sure you get something out of it? How do you ensure a job fair is productive for you? Interesting. Yeah. Khaled is saying, I get disappointed when I go to job fairs because I meet candidates who have more experience than me. Yep. At a job fair, you will also meet other job seekers because everyone attending is a job seeker. And if the job fair did its own job correctly, there will be way more people attending than presenting. This is every fair. You maybe have, let's say, 70 companies presenting, and you want 500 people every day. So yes, there is a real potential to get slightly discouraged because you're meeting other job seekers. All right, Yusuf is saying you can look to a data sheet, job specifications. I'm gonna take what you say, Yusuf, and move it a little bit further. Maybe what you're mentioning, or maybe some way to connect to a job fair would be look up the available jobs at the companies present before you go, right? Because these job fairs announce who will be present before they start. Yep, I think everyone is saying a variation of the same fact, that you can do some kind of research before you attend the job fair. So here's what I said. Number one, bring your resume. Bring your resume. If you're going to be talking to people about the jobs that they are offering and you want to talk about your own candidacy, make sure you have your resume there to reference it. What if you have a great conversation and they say, hey, can I take your resume? You better be ready to say, absolutely, here it is. This is an expectation of the job fair. all the job seekers, or not all, but all the ones who came to my masterclass and who have done their own research will know that it is an expectation to come with your resume. The next way that you can make the job fair work for you, be productive for you, is to treat every conversation you have as an interview. And this is helpful for many different reasons. So let's imagine that you want to work at, I'm running out of examples. I always try to have different examples for you guys. What is a good example? Maybe it's a clinic, because we've been doing medical examples today. So maybe there's Clinic Shifa. It's a big medical clinic here in Algiers. Maybe they're looking to hire, so they come to the fair. I don't know if clinics come to fairs, but just go with my example, please. So Clinic Shifa has a stand, and they're mentioning about, we hire administrators, we need people to help with paperwork, we need people to help with scheduling. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. That door really scared me. It just closed with the wind. Okay, so Clinic Duval is hiring at the job fair. So when you go up and I know. Oh, you guys, please laugh with me because I just jumped out of my skin and it was just a door that the wind blew shut. Okay, so you're going up to the clinic and you have your resume with you. You do not know who the person is that you're speaking with. Sure, it could be the entry-level employee who has no authority over hiring, who just got, we call it the short straw, like the bad luck to go to the fair. It's possible. But usually the person who is going has some kind of hiring authority, meaning they work for human resources. There's a reason that they are the ones at the job fair. So that being said, when you meet them, when you're having a conversation with them, all right, guys, tonight is the night of interruptions. I'm going to have to close this door or the wind will keep banging it. Imagine Clinique Duval, visualize yourself in this interaction and give me 10 seconds. I will be right back. Hello, everyone. This is the time when we love the YouTube recording. Maybe I'll have Kenza edit it out and put like a little background music. Sometimes in old-fashioned TV shows, they have like, stay tuned. Anyways, thank you very much for your patience. I also realized I said Clinic Shifa and then I said Clinic Duval. So if you are not from Algiers and this means nothing to you, Ma'alesh, we move on. If you're from Algiers, I'm sure you're laughing that I got very confused between my medical establishments. All right. This is the advantage also of a live masterclass and not pre-recorded, because we really are all in the same time all together experiencing life. Okay. So we're going to return. We're going into the job fair. We're looking for a job. Maybe we want to work as an administrative assistant. You're going up to any booth, but in my random example, we're picking a medical clinic. And the person you're talking to could be the same person that will be reviewing your application when you email it in. That's the point of this whole long story that I'm giving you, which is to say that you may be having, without realizing it, a pre-interview. So they think they're just telling you about the job, they're telling you about the openings, but you have a chance to really impress them, and they will remember. If they have a conversation with someone who has a really strong resume, has the experience they're looking for, and is well-spoken, is eloquent, is professional in behavior and in dress, they will note it down, and you could find yourself getting the interview based off of that initial conversation. So it may have the disguise of an informational exchange when in fact you are already you have an opportunity in front of you that you can take advantage of. Anytime you speak with anyone at a company you're interested in working at, you should treat this as a version of an interview. The next one I'll say is about meeting your peers. So when I said treat all conversation as interviews, I mean it. You have a really unique experience at a job fair. It's an environment where everybody knows that everyone else is there looking for jobs. So if you, let's say there's a snack area, if you start to talk to someone, immediately it's going to move into that type of question. Why are you here? What is your background? What types of jobs are you looking for? You get a chance to hone your elevator speech. Your elevator speech is that, let's say, 1 minute, 30-second to a minute, 30-second introduction. Who you are, what's your background, what are you looking to do in your professional career? One of the best ways to get good at this is to do it over and over again for different people. So that if you say it one way and you see some confusion, you can say to yourself, okay, the next time I do this elevator speech, I'll do it different. At a job fair, you are essentially doing speed dating, if you will, of elevator speeches. So it's a really good opportunity. That's how you can truly make the most of it, is if you treat every conversation like an interview. And the last thing I'm going to say, which I already said, which is targeting companies in advance. And so that means, especially if there's 70 companies, go through the list ahead of time and figure out the top ones. I must see this one. I'm really here to see this one. These other ones look good. And then with your extra time, sure, go ahead, wander around, meet some folks, learn about companies you haven't heard of. That's also valuable, but make sure you have your priorities for the day set and that you check them off your list, you make the connections you want to make, and then you go and look and leave yourself open to the happy surprise of a new company that you're interested in. Awesome. I think that's everything about job fairs, but let's see what is going on in the chat before we move to talking about remote work. Let's see. Everyone's noticing, oh, there's no wind in Algiers tonight. Khaled, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Reem says, we try to sell ourselves to whoever we speak to at the fair or elsewhere while we're looking for a job. Yeah, I hate saying sell yourself, even though I also say it because it sounds so harsh. But if you think about like job searching as self-marketing, I prefer the term self-marketing. You get to refine how you market yourself. Okay. Zakia says, as an archaeologist, I bring my resume, diploma, licenses, and certificates. So Zakia, I don't know about the archaeology field, so you may know something I do not know. So take my advice with a grain of salt. But I've never seen someone at a job fair on the spot ask to check your diplomas. Usually the only time that a company will want to check your physical diplomas or certificates is right before they hire you. So a lot of times even they check these after they give you an offer. So they give you an offer, then they validate, they check your references, maybe some of them do a criminal history check, and they check your diplomas. But at this initial stage, I have seen this before in my field. So my field is English language teaching, English language teachers. And when they come up to me and they have like 5 or 6 pieces of paper, diplomas, everything, I don't have any way of even verifying these diplomas. I believe what they tell me. If you come up to me at a job fair and you say you went to University of Buzaria too, I believe you. I don't need to see a diploma because at this stage, I'm not even hiring you. It's just a conversation. So my recommendation is you bring a resume and that's it. Not even a cover letter. It's just a clean, crisp, no typo resume. But again, maybe in the archaeology world, they want to see documents early. I would be surprised to find that is the case. But you know, I'm ready to be corrected. Let's see. Hisham, look at Hisham taking a page out of, I think it was Hamza's book, right? Using this opportunity for job searching. Hisham says, thank you so much for your efforts. And by the way, I'm about to get my economic master's degree this year. Are you hiring? Well, Hisham, when we are hiring, we post it on our social media and we post it on our LinkedIn. Right now, we are not hiring. This is perfect, though. Use your connections, use your opportunities. Why not? What do you have to lose? Shukri says, I can start immediately from anywhere. Well, this one, I can't tell if it's a joke or not. If it's a joke, it's very funny. If it's actually an attempt to look for a job, it needs a lot more detail, and I prefer Hisham's. Let's see, Khaled says, can you talk about filling a long application, please? I mean, I just feel, I want to say I feel for you, but even me, I have to fill some long applications. I feel for all of us who are handling companies these days who think it is appropriate to make us fill out like 15 pages when we apply. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Try to set aside an hour of your time. Try to stay motivated. Make sure it's worth it, that if you got that job, you would accept it, number one, and that you meet the minimum requirements. If they require 5 years experience and you don't have 5 years experience, do not waste your time. But this is all that I can give you for that. This is the company's. All right. Miriam's asking, what if we live in a state that doesn't organize job fairs? Well, then you're going to have to rely on the other job search strategies. I'm not going to try to go all the way back in my slides, but I'll list them for you, which is online job searching. The next is referrals. And before that is networking. No matter where you live, you can do these three. And I organize the presentation in terms of what percentage these strategies should take in your overall job searching strategy. So that's good for you because job fairs is actually the least important and the least common way that you're going to find a job. Don't stress, just rely on the other three. So for remote work, you guys, let's talk about remote work quickly. So remote work opportunities, these are two big websites that basically have every industry on them, Upwork and Fiverr. But they're not just remote work opportunities. These are actually websites that you can use to find freelance jobs. So a freelance job means something where you're paid per hour and you do not, or per project, but most importantly, you do not become an employee of the company. So on Upwork, you will find people looking for an editor. Hey, I need someone to edit my book. My book is 100 pages and I'm ready to pay you, let's say, $1,000 to edit my book. And you submit your resume, and this person, it could be an individual or it could be a company, will hire you for 100% remote work. Fiverr is exactly the same. A lot of the types of work they're looking for are going to be like web design, app design, back end or front end web development, user experience design. All of this is in the field of web development. Or editing, anything having to do with writing, copywriting, so writing blog posts as a ghostwriter, research, doing background research, translation work, those types of things. Someone earlier asked about teaching English online, and I did not include that in this slide, but I could have, because there's also a lot of remote work opportunities in the online teaching space. English is the most in-demand language, but it's not the only one. You can also find work online teaching Arabic. Modern Standard Arabic is the most in demand, as well as French or any other languages that you teach. There's also a lot of other job platforms for remote work. The reason I didn't list them is they all start to get really specific. So there's a website that's just for designers. So just for people who do web design or for people who do graphic design using Adobe Illustrator. And it's a whole world of job postings and of companies that are relying on these websites to get freelance remote workers in design. So I really recommend that if you're someone looking for remote work, Google that. Google remote work opportunity and then put your industry. Okay, because you will find more than just Upwork and Fiverr. I see Hajira and Shukri saying freelance. Yes, these are freelance job websites. You know, I'm looking at the slide and it's almost more accurate to say freelance than remote. They are both. They are freelance and remote. But I think the more important to note is that they're freelance, meaning you do not get hired with a work contract. You do not get health benefits. You do not get vacation days because you're not the employee of the company. So yes, thank you to both of you for suggesting that. And this slide should say freelance work opportunities. All right, I have a question here from Khaled. What is the difference in job recruitment between the UN and Algeria? But I think you mean the US. What are the differences in job recruitment? That's a big question. I mean, you're going to find some cultural differences in terms of everything like a lot of American companies are relying now on video interviews where there's no human. So it's a question and you record yourself answering the question, you submit it. So there's some kind of different styles of interviewing. I would say American companies, especially startups, are beginning to rely more heavily on kind of fun questions than classic questions. Like you're in the interview and they'll say, hey, you're on a desert island. What do you bring? And that's your job interview question. So you are seeing a little bit more of that now in the US as well, but I'll have to think about more differences. With every culture, you're going to get differences, not just US and Algeria. Every country is going to have its own cultural nuance. Every industry will have that nuance. You will feel it the minute you start the job search process. All right, guys, this is my last point. I want to talk about maximizing your chances. So we have gone through all the 4 different areas: online job platforms, referrals, networking, and job fairs. How can you maximize your chances during the search process? What do you do to make sure that your efforts result in actually getting jobs? Tell me in the chat. While you're telling me in the chat your answers, I'm just reading this story from Kahina. So Kahina applied for some jobs with international companies, and they required her to fill out a personality test form. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. These little new ways of evaluating employees that you will not find in Algeria, I don't think, or with Algerian companies. Okay, so maximizing your chances. Yusuf says preparation. Fatima Zora says also kind of preparation, get your CVs, certificate, everything ready. Khaled says work on your English. Hanan just says there's a lot you can do. Okay, anything else, you guys, before I show you? Okay, be organized, good. Use AI. Yep, I told you guys in the last few when we talked about writing cover letter and CVs, I don't hate AI. I use AI. You just need to be strategic. It is an assistant. It should not be doing the work for you because it's very, very noticeable. Staying positive and persistent. Yeah, round out ChatGPT and you're saying LOL, but I'm actually suggesting use ChatGPT to check for your typos, your grammar errors, your spelling mistakes. Do not use ChatGPT to write everything. Actually, I was just speaking with a staff member at the US Embassy who told me that they run every application they get through ChatGPT. They know, but they don't throw them out if the content is still personal to you, but they do throw it out if chat just wrote an article, or sorry, an application about somebody that has nothing to do with you. All right, let me show you what I wrote. Number 1 is treat your time and your energy is valuable. Okay, we are only human. You cannot apply for 100 jobs. If you try, you will, I don't think you will succeed. And if you do succeed, you will have spent so much energy on 99 jobs you're not getting. I mean, for me, this is a waste of time and you will collapse yourself in the process. This is another way of saying be selective. Number 2, manage your online profile. I remember somebody brought this up at the beginning of the presentation and I really appreciated it. Manage your online profile. That's including your professional profile like your LinkedIn, as well as your personal profiles. jobs, companies, they will Google you. So if you apply to work for them and they Google you and they find a YouTube channel where you're using curses and going on political rants and looking unhinged, they will not hire you. Make sure your personal profiles are set to private and that any public profile looks professional. It's something that you would be okay with a company seeing. Last one. This last one, I really recommend you try to do, which is you try to make a connection, a virtual connection or an actual connection in real life with the top 3 companies you want to work at. You can make that connection in a job fair. You can make that connection on LinkedIn. You can make that connection through a referral, but try to build at least one connection with someone who works at your dream company. A connection can just be a LinkedIn message exchange, but take that effort, take the time rather to make that extra special effort at the companies that you care about, at your dream companies. Even if you don't get jobs there, you will have more knowledge about the industry. You'll have support from people who do work in those jobs, especially if the connection you make is with a peer. And you'll always walk away more knowledgeable than you did before you made the connection. So these are my 3 recommendations for maximizing your chances during your job search process. I think, guys, this is the end of my slides. I see my computer is starting to die. I'm actually going to turn off my video to save a little bit of battery. And while I successfully do this, tell me, is there anything that you want to add to my list? Is there anything that you want to add to my list? Sorry, you're going to lose my beautiful face, but I'm still here. I'm listening and I'm reading. Oops. What do you want to add to my list? And let me go back to my list so you can reference it as well. All right, I see you use social media to find jobs. I'm happy that that made it on your list. What else? Good. Now you can see the 3 that I chose. Treat your time and your energy as valuable, manage your profile, make a connection. What else? Good. Yusuf says, find out more about the company if you have an interview. That's good advice. We talked a lot about that last week. Yes, Ben Amara Suhal saying, limit your research, be specific. Good. Mohammed Amin says, personalize your search specifically for you. Good. Hamza says, create a plan. Before beginning your job search, it's helpful to create a plan. Very good. Abdullah also mentions that if you want to find jobs, you need to improve your skills. Absolutely. It's not simply that there are no jobs out there when you're having a hard time. It could be that you need to raise the bar, go out for that extra certification, improve your language skills, add your volunteer experience, do what you can to bring your profile up to make yourself a candidate for the jobs you want. All right, guys, we're going to go into general Q&A. That is everything I had prepared for you today. We had wind, we had dogs. Now we're off on video, so we're having a crazy night, but I'm enjoying the dynamic. I'm loving the questions. Hit me with all you've got. If there was any questions that you had at the beginning that I didn't answer, please bring them back. I know we talked about the online job searching. I'm trying to think if we talked about all the others. Esma here is sending me a question. What do you recommend to improve? What do you recommend in order to improve your English, especially your speaking? Well, the short and sweet response is basically that anything you want to improve, you need to increase your exposure to. If you want to improve your speaking, you must start speaking English more. So in order to start speaking English more, you have a couple of options. Number 1, talk out loud to yourself. That's the worst case scenario. No one around to talk to yourself. Find a friend who will speak to you in English. Have coffee dates only in English. Join a conversation class at a local English school. But if you want to improve something, you need to do more of it. That goes for listening, that goes for reading, and that goes for writing. Sarah is asking me an English question. IELTS, OET, and TOEFL. What do you recommend? I recommend IELTS because it is the cheapest and it is accepted for basically every job, every country, every university. I have a question in the Q&A. Someone says, I want to be a CEO. Can you give me some advice? Well, I'm not sure if I can give you any advice. I can just say good luck because it is really hard to run your own enterprise, but it is extremely rewarding. So maybe the best advice is get ready to hang on. You'll have to fight for your vision and you'll have to stay with it. It's not a journey for those who want things to come quickly and to come easily. Great. Haifa says, I'm about to finish my doctoral degree this year in English, but I think that for jobs, I need either a TOEFL and IELTS. So yes, you do for international jobs, so jobs abroad, for degrees abroad, or for jobs with multinational companies, they will want some proof of English skill level. Whatever any language school will tell you, the only proof that is accepted by these agencies are international standardized tests. That's what we're talking about. TOEFL and IELTS and TOEIC and a few others. I would not recommend that you take a test randomly. I would wait until you need it. The reasons are that they are expensive and they expire. So if you take the IELTS now, it's only active for 2 years. And then what if you have a job opportunity in 3 years and you have to take it again? Wait until you need the test, then set aside some time to study and pass it. Rim says we can improve our speaking by listening. So only marginally, Rim. I think people make this mistake. There are a few ways of taking in language. We take in language when we listen. We learn new vocabulary. We can learn accents, but it's not till we put that language to use in output when we're using it that we can measure how much we've learned from listening, and we can actually ensure that it has been integrated. So I hesitate people who think that they can only learn to speak from listening, or that they can rely on listening to learn to speak. Miriam says, what if we have job experiences that are completely different from the job that we're currently seeking? Is it okay to mention it, or should we avoid putting it on our CV? Well, it depends. It's a good question, Miriam. And while I answer, guys, I'll put the information about the next class here, because I see some folks heading out for the evening, which is totally fine. So if your resume is empty, you've only done a few small jobs, then I would always include those jobs. It doesn't matter how relevant they are. But if you have a full resume, so you don't have to include every job you've done, you can be selective, then yes, only select the jobs that are relevant. So it's going to depend on how much other work you have to put on your resume. Hisham, do you have preparation for the IELTS? Well, Hisham, at our school, we do preparation for IELTS. That is true. Reem is listing some other tests. Yeah, there's the TEFL, the TESOL, the CELTA, or the Delta. Hussein wants to know, why do the English tests expire? Hussein, international certifications. I mean, I can tell you what their logic is, which is that after 2 years, you may not have the same level of English. Imagine you do the IELTS, 2 years go by, you don't ever practice English, that your certificate would no longer be valid. This is a valid reason, but there's a cynic inside of me which looks at the fact that they make a lot of money by having an expiration date. So I'll give you the valid answer and then what my cynic inside wants to add. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Thank you for joining me. Next week, we are going to be talking about negotiating job offers and closing the deal. And it will be the last class together in this series. But as I mentioned last time, this is a series, and we have 5 total master classes from now through the end of the summer. Thank you for joining me, everybody. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. We will hope to see you next time. Have a good night.